Welcome to the second breakout session for day one of AfA Connect. My name is Elliot Carr, and I'm the lead coordinator of the Sanctuaries and Rescue Centres Coalition and the new Combating Wildlife Trafficking Working Group. And I'll be moderating this session today about inspiring society to change for wildlife. Today, under our theme, Communication Matters, we will learn all about the science of social and behavior change communication, along with real-world examples of how NGOs in the Asian region have used these communication principles and tools to inspire society to change and reduce the demand for wildlife. We hope today's session will inspire you to learn how to integrate social and behavior change communication into your advocacy and outreach work to create societal change for Asia's wildlife and people. The flow of our session today looks like this. We'll welcome our three incredible speakers who will present for about 15 minutes each, followed by a Q&A session. So we invite you joining us live today to use the chat function to post your questions to our speakers throughout their presentations, and our AfA team behind the scenes will collect your questions and will present them to our speakers for an engaging conversation to round out today's session. Today's session will include these three incredible speakers from USAid and Wildlife Crime Activity, the International Fund for Animal Welfare, and Education for Nature Vietnam, who I'll introduce individually before each of their presentations. To start us off, I'm so pleased to welcome Eleanora de Guzman. Nora and Natrata, please prepare your screens to share and turn your camera on as I introduce your work. Nora is the social and behavior change communication lead of USAid and Wildlife Crime Activity that covers Southeast Asia and China. She is responsible for overseeing capacity strengthening of regional civil society actors, including underrepresented groups such as youth, women, Indigenous peoples, and faith-based organizations in using social and behavior change communication to plan, implement, and assess advocacy, social mobilization, and demand reduction campaigns to counter wildlife trafficking. But what exactly is social and behavior change communication other than a mouthful? And how can we use it? Nora, welcome, and please begin your presentation.
Thank you, Elliot. First of all, thank you, Elliot and AfA for inviting me to, discuss SBCC today. And thank you for the very good introduction. First of all, I'd like to just further give you information on the USAid and Wildlife Crime Activity. This is funded by USAid Regional Development Mission for Asia, and we are a consortium led by RTI, where I am from, and including IFAW, Traffic, RECOFT, and the World Wildlife Fund, WWF. So this is the third iteration of a project that started in 2016, which was USAid Wildlife Asia, after which was USAid Reducing Demand for Wildlife. And now we're really focused on engaging civil society organizations and helping them strengthening capacity to help end wildlife crime. But what I'm going to talk about now is really social and behavior change communication and how we use SBCC in a previous project. This is to reduce demand for wildlife products that is driven by spiritual beliefs about these products. Next slide, please. So social and behavior change, next slide, please. What is social and behavior change? It is really a planned process, and it was developed under the Sea Change project funded by USAID sometime in the early 2000s that uses communication processes to change individual behaviors and social norms, and it is actually applying behavioral theory. And initially, it was used for the health sector, and it is only fairly recently in the past few years that we are using it for the conservation sector and for the countering wildlife trafficking sector. So next slide, please. So SBCC has three characteristics. You will see from the slide. So I'll just move to the next slide, please. The first is that SBCC is a systematic planning process which involves 5 steps: understanding the context through situation and target audience analysis. Then the second is focusing and designing the SBCC strategy. Third is creating interventions and materials for behavior change. The fourth is implementing and monitoring behavior change processes. And the fifth is evaluating and replanning. Next slide, please. Now, the second characteristic is that SBCC uses what we call a socio-ecological model to find out where is that tipping point for change. You will see from the graph, the circle, that the self is at the center. So the self is the individual or groups that we are targeting for the behavior change. And surrounding the self, the concentric circles, are the various levels of influence. So the direct influence, of course, is at the interpersonal level. And then the larger one is the community neighborhood, and the largest one is the enabling environment, which includes policies, systems, etc., that create this enabling environment for the behavior change. Next slide, please. So SBCC also uses 3 strategies. The first is advocacy. This is a strategy that aims for active support, resources, political, social commitment from policymakers, decision makers, and others in order to create that enabling environment for change. The second is social mobilization, which is engaging influential groups for wider participation, building coalitions, local ownership of issues, and what we would like to change. Then the third is behavior change communication. This is actually using various media, interpersonal, social media, traditional media, targeting specific target audiences like consumers, other groups, to change knowledge, attitudes, beliefs, and actually practices that we would like them to change too. So the next slide, please. So this is, I will just present how we use the SBCC planning process as well as the other 2 characteristics to a campaign to target wildlife product consumers to counter spiritual beliefs regarding tiger and elephant amulets in Thailand under a project named USAid Wildlife Asia. This is the first project that I talked about, implemented from 2016 to 2020. Next slide, please. So the first step was understanding the situation and the target audience. Next slide, please. So in 2018, we conducted the consumer research, and this consumer research revealed that spiritual beliefs in the power of ivory and tiger to bring good luck and prevent harm are the main drivers to the desire for tiger and ivory products in Thailand, specifically ivory and tiger amulets. The next slide, please. So what else did we learn from the research? We learned that these spiritual beliefs are very strongly held, handed down from elders, family, and religious leaders. And the respondents to our focus group said that they should not be referred to as superstitious. As the Thai saying goes, you may believe or you may not believe, but please do not disrespect. Next slide, please. So what else did we learn about the target audience? So this is the target audience profile, those who actually buy these ivory and tiger products driven by spiritual beliefs. They are generally male, 30 to 49 years old, usually with a family, fairly educated. They are business owners. They get information on ivory and tiger products from the internet or trusted persons, as I said, from religious leaders, for example. The next slide, please. So after we found out all this information and data, we started focusing and designing the SBCC strategy. So remember, there are three strategies: advocacy, social mobilization, and behavior change communication. Next slide, please. So we decided, based on our resources, to focus and adopt BCC, behavior change communication, to directly address and engage our target audience. These are the consumers through channels they regularly access, and supported by social mobilization to engage those who influence the target audience spiritual beliefs, and more specifically, the Buddhist spiritual leaders. Next slide, please. So the third step was really creating the messages and the materials. So next slide, please. So in developing the message and the materials, of course, we hired an agency, but we tested two concepts. The first concept was a dark, bold, hard-hitting, it linked to killing, and the tagline was, "Don't take another life for our life." So it was quite bold. The other concept that we tested was more positive, more affirmative, and it was encouraging and saying that good luck and success comes from your own capacity, not from an amulet or not from a wildlife product. So we tested these two concepts among actual consumers of these products. Next slide, please. So the results showed that the darker, hard-hitting messaging was actually more appealing and believable to the respondents, who also said that it would be good to show stronger images, actual products, and keywords like protection. So they also said that the messages should not say that the beliefs are wrong, but should just raise questions to cast doubt on these beliefs. So next slide, please. So I think next slide. So we decided to have two phases, and this we actually implemented with USAid, another CWT organization, conservation agency, with USAid funding. So the first phase was really to question the power to bring good luck, and the next phase was to question the power to protect from harm. So these are two chronological phases, and using the same call to action for both phases. And we would use well-known, credible monks and personalities to deliver the message. Next slide, please. So this is just to show you the materials, the visuals for the phase 1 campaign, which we titled "A Good Life is Free of Killing." And so the concept and message was really to cast doubt on the power of ivory and tiger products to bring good luck. So we asked the question, products that come from killing, are you sure they are auspicious? So the message was delivered by a very popular and respected Buddhist monk at the time, and two prominent celebrities known for their charity work. And the call to action was stop buying, stop using products from ivory and tiger. Next slide, please. Sorry. So next slide, please. So the key material, sorry. Can you go back to the previous slide? Sorry. So we developed key materials for phase 1, which was video, testimonial videos by these 3 influencers, and then 3 key visuals, and then an online ad on amulet websites, and ads in bus shelters and sidewalks where, you know, these consumers of wildlife products usually pass. So the campaign was also fully supported by our government counterpart, the Thailand's Department of National Parks, Wildlife, and Plant Conservation. So phase 2, now go to phase 2, let's just this slide. So the phase 2 was titled "No Ivory, No Tiger Amulets," and we asked the question, do you think ivory and tiger fangs can really protect you? They, meaning the animals, cannot even protect themselves. So we used the same call to action as in phase 1. Stop buying, stop using products from ivory and tiger. And this was communicated again, next slide please, via a 60-second video, and then various short forms of the video, and then a key visual, and then we also place ads in tuk-tuks. If you're familiar with Bangkok and Thailand, tuk-tuks are these transport vehicles in the city, and they ply routes around the city. And so these tuk-tuks were selected because they were plying the routes in amulet trade areas. So again, our government counterpart, the DNP, fully supported this campaign. So this was the phase of development of the materials. Next chart, please. So step 4 was implementing and monitoring. So how did we implement this campaign using all these materials? Next slide, please. So the phase 1, our overall strategy for both phases was to place our messages in channels that our target audience, current potential consumers, regularly access. We did not, as you see, target the general population because, also they were not wildlife product consumers, but just the specific segment. And we only address current and potential ivory and tiger users driven by spiritual beliefs. So the phase 1 media plan included social media because we found out that they actually use the internet, social media, so Facebook, Instagram. Then we also use amulet magazines and websites. And then, as I said, print ads on bus shelters, sidewalks, in locations frequented by our target audience. These are those who are buyers and users of these amulets. Next slide, please. So this is just a monitoring of the phase 1 media. So we were able to reach with the paid media 22 million, including out-of-home media, 1 million views and 1.4 million engagements on Facebook and Instagram. And this was just within a 3 to 4 month period. And then nearly 1 million in circulation for a newspaper. And then for earned media, meaning those we by chance earned because, they were voluntarily given. 22 news stories, 280,000 views, nearly 800,000 engagements, and then the circulation of 800,000. So, but this is just reach. Remember, we're not just talking of reach because reach does not really tell us anything. It's just that people see it or are passed by it. So the next phase, the targeted dissemination for phase 2 used the same, more or less, system or the same strategy. We use Facebook and Instagram, and then an online platform, and as I said, the tuk-tuks, which ply the routes for 1 month in June 2020. So for phase 2, next slide, please. For phase 2, these were the results. We reached an estimated nearly 2 million via these tuk-tuks flying around. We had 2.6 million views on Facebook and Instagram and 26,000 engagements, meaning like, the comments, etc. And 600,000 views on the Pantip online platform, which is like a website platform. So next slide. So we said we had behavior change communication as our main SBCC strategy. We actually complemented it by social mobilization. So what we did was we partnered with the International Network of Engaged Buddhists, or INEB. This is a very well-established organization in Thailand. And we engaged this network so that they will be able to amplify the campaign messages that were heard and seen via social media and all these other media channels. And importantly, hold conversations with their followers through the dharmas. The dharmas are like spiritual lectures. And then their members' social media accounts, because they do have social media accounts, these Buddhist monks and nuns, and personal interactions. So with INEP, we conducted workshops with them, also educated them on what SBCC is about. These are 20 Buddhist monks and 10 nuns in the first phase, and then succeeded by more Buddhist leaders. And they actually also developed their own messages. So these photos show that, that they were actually in groups trying to develop their own messages. So next slide, please. So after these trainings, actually this was in 2022, these trained monks and nuns were able to organize campaigns in their local communities around their temples. So these are just some photos of the campaigns or the events that they organized in their communities in order to amplify the messaging through social media and out-of-home channels. So this is the implementation phase. So the next step is evaluating and monitoring. So how did we evaluate and monitor the campaign? Next slide, please. So we conducted a what we call a rapid survey in July 2020. First, to determine the recall of messages, and then try to find out what were the changes in the desired attitudes, perceptions of social acceptability, and intention to use among those exposed to the campaign, compared with data from our first research, as I mentioned, in 2018. This is the first baseline research that we conducted. So next slide, please. So this is just an idea of the survey design. This was mainly in Bangkok. Similar questions as the first consumer research. And the respondents had the same characteristics as the consumers and intenders in the first 2018 research. So next slide, please. So for our analysis, I just want to show you, before I show you the findings, how did we analyze the data? We use a very simplified model from our theory of change. We have a big theory of change, but we further simplified it. The model shows the interplay of attitudes, which is on top, on left side, composed of the perceived benefits and perceived concerns. So perceived benefits are the drivers for the use of the spiritual products. Concerns are the risks, deterrents to the use of these products. And then social norms at the bottom cell, perceptions of social acceptability of using these products. And these two work to influence intention to use, to buy or not to buy, and then eventual buying or not buying. So next slide, please. So first, we measured attitudes, that is perceived benefits and perceived concerns, to using ivory and tiger amulets. Next slide, please. So as we see, the same questions were asked, that do you think ivory tiger products bring you good luck or good fortune? And these products also protect you from harm. And then for the concern, do you think the spiritual power of ivory and tiger is unfounded, and that they are associated with cruelty and extinction of elephants and tigers? So for the perceived benefits, what we wanted to do was to decrease agreement to the perceived benefits and increase agreement to the perceived concern. This is unlike using SBCC to promote a health behavior, for example, where we want to show the perceived benefit of improved health behavior, like a vaccination, getting a vaccination. So we want people to agree to the benefits of vaccination and disagree to the risks of vaccination. But since this is to reduce demand, it is more or less the opposite, or it is the opposite. Next slide, please. So,
sorry for interruption.
Yes.
You have about 2 minutes left.
Okay, I go fast. So we measured social norms, in this case, social unacceptability. So the question was, buying and owning ivory and tiger is not acceptable among family and friends. Next slide, please. Next slide, please, again. So this would be leading to buy or not to buy. Next slide, please. So the question is, how likely to buy in the future? So first findings, recall of the ads. We had nearly 76% recalled at least one message from the campaign. Next slide, please. The channels recalled were mostly the social media, but we also called that, bus shelter ads, sidewalk ads, websites, etc. also recalled by a significant minority. And then this is, for me, an important slide, which I think it's very important to learn, that it's not just the recall of a message once, but we really aim to recall more than once. I call it the frequency of recall. Because if you recall it more than once, usually that resonates in your mind, and it leads more to the changes that you want to achieve. Because recalling it once, reaching them once is not enough. So I think this is a very important slide for us to learn. Next slide, please. So just findings, findings. So you'll see from the top slide, you'll see the top slide in blue. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The red lines are the findings from the 2018 research, and the blue lines are the findings from the 2020 research. And you can see significant decreases in perception that Tiger products bring good luck and protect from harm. So there were very significant decreases. And then if you see the green box, we want to increase, as I said, we want to increase the perception of risk and concern. You will see significant increase, at least in the agreement, that IRI and Tiger's spiritual power is unfounded. So this is the red line from the baseline 2018 and the blue line from the 2020 survey. So that IRIs associated with killing did not really move much, because we also had it high in the baseline. So we think that these three indicators are quite powerful. The next. So acceptability, again, the red is the 2018 and the blue is the 2020 survey. So there was an increased agreement to the question that it is not socially acceptable to use IRI and Tiger products. Next slide, please. So perception, intention to buy in the future, you just please focus on the left side, the green box, and the right side, also the green. You can see a significant increase in saying that they have no intention to buy in the future, from 9% to nearly 40%. So that is for Ivory. So the next is for Tiger. Significant increase also from 5% to nearly 49%. Next. And I will end with just concluding that our messaging worked. Perception of social unacceptability significantly increased. However, we really still need to further increase so that they are majority rather than 30%. So again, intention to not buy also greatly increased. Again, it was a short campaign, and we would need a longer campaign so that would increase to a further majority. And the use of our religious leaders and celebrities was effective. So thanks. I think I end here, and if there are any questions later, open to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that insight, Nora. It seems like that was a really effective campaign based in Thailand. And I like what you said about it's making those linkages between the frequency of recall of that message, but then also to the action of the intent to buy or not to buy. So I think it's really important and valuable lessons there that we've got. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to invite our next speaker.
Welcome.
Thank you, Nora. Our next speaker is Vicky from International Fund for Animal Welfare. Her work focuses also on behaviour change, which is part of IFAW's demand reduction section under Program of Wildlife Crime Prevention. Based on market research and psychological studies, Vicky and her team carry out mass targeted campaigns for an upshift on the public's knowledge, attitudes, and practice towards wildlife consumption. Thank you so much for joining us, Vicky, and please share your screen whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Elliot. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here and to introduce our IFAW's behavior change work to end ivory trade in China.
Perfect.
So first of all, I would like to thank AFA for giving us this opportunity. And now I'm introducing IFAW on behalf of YK, our program manager of IFAW. So now please allow me to start with this presentation with a brief introduction of IFAW and IFAW China. So IFAW was established in 1969, and we have 16 country offices, and we have programs in more than 40 countries and regions. This wildlife crime prevention is one of our major programs in the world and in China. And in China, we carry out the program from both the supply side and the demanding side. On the supply side, we carry out researches that help us to advocating for policy improvement and supporting enforcement capacity building and engaging relevant industries such as the internet companies and the logistics service clients. We also, on the reduction side, we carry out the consumer-based research to find out the drivers and barriers behind the behavior change, so that we can implement interventions to reduce demand. And we also have this SBCC, known as social behavior change strategies. And when we talk about the social behavior change, we want to underline the word social because we think all the important sectors in the society is important. And we need to work together for a long-term, sustained, and desired change in the future. And also, as a successful campaign, we think that we need to focus on the 3 M's and 1 C, which means the right message, right mediums to convey the different messages, the measurable results, and the right connections to ensure that it is connected among all the important sectors to push for a change. In addition, we think that strong, clear, unambiguous laws and policies and strong enforcement support are essential to guarantee desired outcomes in reducing illegal wildlife trade. And here we summarize our strategies in these 3 circles. And as you can see, these 3 circles, they're not parallel. They incorporate with each other. And we also want to highlight the 5 factors that we carry out SBCC, like the diversified KOL strategy, advocacy campaigns that are rooted in Chinese culture, applying behavior psychology in targeted campaigns, and engagement with relevant private sectors as means to the end and the end itself. Also, the mobilizing political endorsement. As we all know, that KOL has a lot of influence in influencing audience behaviors. But when we talk about the selecting KOL, we also need to think about the S in our SBCC. Now we need to select KOLs that are from different industries, so that they can help us to convey the message into their own industries and with their own ways. Taking this campaign as example, it's called the Saving Elephant Laura. We created this elephant character called Laura, and we want our audience to engage with Laura. And we also invite 18 KOLs, means the influencers from different industries of China, so they can express their perspective on why we should help elephants in their own idea. We also invited the former US ambassador to China and to emphasize the importance of China and the US work together to crack down illegal wildlife trade. So the campaign penetrated over 80% of urban China and reduced the stated future purchasing intention of the public from 7.2% to 4.5%. The campaign also made IFAW one of the top 20 brands in China of that year. In addition to KOL strategy, IFAW has also endeavoring to design campaigns that are based on understanding the Chinese public and Chinese culture. And this is another example. In 2008, IFAW conducted a consumer research of the Chinese public, and we found that over 70% of the Chinese back then, they didn't know that ivory comes from dead elephants. Because in Chinese, the ivory was literally translated as elephant teeth. Therefore, people think that ivory can get from the natural fall of the elephant, and don't need to kill elephants. Therefore, based on this finding, we carry out this Mom, I Got Teeth campaign. And we have this mother elephant and baby elephant being together. And the baby elephant was asking, Mom, I got teeth. Why you aren't happy with me? And this campaign resonated with the Chinese audience. And also in 2021, this campaign was used in one of the college entrance examination. And another effect of the campaign that it reduced the group of target audience most likely to purchase ivory from 54% to 26%. Here's another example. These are there are 4 characters, Chinese characters, and you know that the Chinese characters they're photographic. They resemble the things they express. For example, these are the words, these are characters: the elephant, tiger, bear, and human. We remove some of the parts from these characters and put the dots of the blood instead. We want to convey the message that if the elephant do not have, if the elephant do not have the teeth, the tiger lost its bones and the bear lost its leather. Does human also have this humanity? We also we want to found something from our traditional Chinese culture to influence our audience, and these are the 2 PSAs that we implement that. We look for roots from the traditional Chinese culture and some quotes from famous Chinese philosophy Lao Tzu. So these words saying that humans and between the heaven and the earth, humans and animals, they live together. We want to convey the message that it is the traditional Chinese culture that people and their wild animals, they can survive together. So this is our traditional culture. It's not. It's for thousands of years. Chinese people, we marry this, and we should continue to marry this one. And this slide, and also from many consumer researchers, including the one conducted by our USAid Wildlife Asia led by Nora. These all verify that laws and regulations and the associated penalties are still one of the primary dissuading factors for wildlife consumption. And it's important to increase the perceived personal legal risks instead of merely talking about the law itself. For example, the IFAW implemented series of laws education campaigns in high-risk areas. For instance, the upper right PSA was promoted on the China Laos trend to urge travelers not to buy ivory in Laos and bring back. Also recognizing the limitation of self-reported consumer surveys, we also conducted consumer psychology research with the Institute of Psychology of Chinese Academy and Science. We differentiated the utilitarian consumption and the hedonic consumption. The utilitarian consumption means people buy some things for practical use, and the hedonic consumption means people buy for pleasure. The research also shows that the environmental self-entity is a significant factor influencing both the utilitarian and the hedonic consumptions. So based on these findings, we designed the campaign that we are currently implementing. The environmental self-identity represents how much one considers him or herself as a person that is conducive to the environment. It does not mean actual behavior, but shows self-evaluation. It is understandable that if one wants to tag him or herself as an environmental self-identity person, he or she is more likely to act accordingly. So based on this factor, we designed our post-ivory ban campaign strategy by shifting saying no to saying yes. So this goal is that people stop buying wildlife products by choice instead of by force. We won't go into details to talk about how we cooperate with internet companies and logistics companies today, but I want to highlight that when we apply SBCC strategy, it is important for us to cooperate with these private sectors, which are both means to help us get into the people's daily lives, and also their practical activities help us to reduce the accessibility to the market. Last but not least, political endorsement is also important for any major change within Chinese society. During the End Ivory Trade campaign, we worked with political champions to submit proposals. We also bring KOLs to meet with Chinese ambassadors in Kenya to send the same message back home for the Chinese national reputation. All these efforts are all indispensable parts of our SBCC campaign. Finally, here's a reflection of our SBCC campaigns to end ivory trade in China. For example, we must know our target audience, like how targeted is the target enough? What if our target audience is just the public? And also, we need to know the limitation of the self-reported knowledge, attitude, and practice. Because when we carry out some surveys, people tend to think himself or herself, or they have the misunderstanding of themselves. Take the example we just carried out last year. People think that they care about the street cats, street dogs. They go to the zoo to see animals. Is a way to show they are wildlife friendly, but actually it's not. Also, diversify your means of consumer research and value pre-test. When we carry out post-campaign research, we kind of providing a limited selection for people to choose, but sometimes the reasons behind may go beyond these questions we provide. So we are now carrying out pre-test, so to include more reasons that may be behind, but we may not know beforehand. Also, we need to be realistic about timeline. We all know that behavior change could be generational work, and you cannot just want to change by 1 or 2 campaigns. And we must know our strengths and be realistic about our own capacity and the resources. And also think about the long-term sustainability. Can we shift social norms, and do people change by force or by will? For example, in China, currently ivory trade is totally banned in China. But does that be more influenced by the law, or does that more influenced by our campaigns? It's still, we need to learn more about that. Also about the evaluation. Evaluation is an act of balancing currency and the resources. Practically, we want to including as many people as possible to do the evaluation. But does that worth the spending so much money? And sometimes when we do our evaluation, are we just doing that for self-justified? It's also a question. So that's all for my presentation, and all questions and are welcome during our Q&A session or after this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Vicky. That was absolutely fascinating. You raised some really, really interesting points. I think two I picked up on is one of your campaigns saying, does the human have its humanity, by using the Chinese characters, which is one that's really confrontational, is like, makes people think. But then on the second hand, is there just simple misconceptions that the public don't understand, such as people thinking elephants' teeth just fell out and that's where ivory come from, and that the animal didn't die. So that the animal dies, I should say. So it's really it's really highlights the importance of understanding your audience and what they are before you almost villainize them, because people may not understand the products that they're buying to begin with. So yeah, highlighting the importance of the research. So thank you very much for that, Vicky. And yes, if anyone has
Thank
any
you.
other questions, please place them in the chats and we'll put them into the Q&A afterwards. But right now, I'd like to welcome our final speaker, Nguyen, sorry for that pronunciation, from Education for Nature Vietnam. Dung has over 20 years experience in E&V, providing technical inputs for organizational planning and operations, especially in their communications and public awareness program. Dung is responsible for leading E&V's efforts to reduce demand and consumption of wildlife, and E&V's team runs awareness campaigns targeting Vietnamese audiences for endangered species, utilizing various media platforms and outreach activities. So Dung, thank you very much for joining us today, and we look forward to your presentation.
Hi, everybody. Yes, again, my name is Dung. I'm the Vice Director of Education for Nature Vietnam. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, first of all, let me introduce you. Yes, let's talk about the E&V. E&V is a local NGO which was established in 2000. Yeah, so it's quite a long time ago. And you see from the slide, E&V working on the combating the wildlife crime in Vietnam, and we have a strategic program which includes three major components. Is to strengthen law enforcement, strengthen the law policy and legislation, try to promote the prosecution, and also the last one is reduce the demand consumption and try to mobilize the public to protect the wildlife. Next slide, please. Yes, so today we're just talking about one of the major components under the E&V strategy is reduce the consumption. You can see here that we have three primary aim objectives to under our program. Is just to urge the public not to consume endangered wildlife, also to encourage the public to report the wildlife crime to E&V, and also we can also recruit volunteer to join our efforts. I can say that one of the things that also yes, it's one of the indicators that also to evaluate our program, that we also have the hotline number, yes, toll-free hotline number to encourage the public to report the wildlife crime to us, and then we can work with the authority to deal with the crime. Yes. So all of our program is also to also try to encourage the public to also to report the wildlife crime to E&V. So it's a call to action here already. Next slide, please. So as you heard from the previous presentation, I think that E&V also, like many other NGOs working on reduce the consumer demand, we also try to use many methods with various methods to from the outreach activity to the social media to the face-to-face communication to everything that we can raise public awareness, and also the mobilize the public support to our efforts to protect Vietnam's wildlife. Next, please. Here in the I would like to say some of the activities that E&V doing for many years. You can see that we also carry out a lot of the outreach activities that we organize exhibits at the public location like park, shopping mall, at university. When we're talking about the exhibit, we know that that's the number of the people that we can communicate with people is quite limited. It's maybe a couple hundred people. Sorry, it's the previous slide, please. So we can target only small amount of people, the public member who join to our event, the public event. But it also the way that we have some feeling about what is the public attitude on the issue, because during our exhibit that we also have a different interactive engagement activity. For example, like we have a quiz to see whether that people get anything from our exhibit. We have a sharing idea activities that people can share on the different issues. So we know that what they are on. Yeah, and I have to say that because we also manage a strong network of the volunteer throughout the country, and including all the major cities, the wildlife trade hotspot in Vietnam. So our volunteer also expand our reach to the public, because the EMV can be everywhere. So we need a volunteer who help us to do the awareness event, who help us to collect the public feedback on the issue, and the volunteer who organize this one, they are also the public members, that they are also the wildlife warriors. They are on the side with EMV as well. Yeah. Yes. We also we are talking about the targeted audience here. We understand that we need to, for the different wildlife product, we need to target a different audience, because we know about the different profile for the consumer. Yeah, but at the same time, we also fear that some of we need to public support. Yeah, so we at the same time that we work to target the audience, we also need to work to gain the public support in general, and also some of the segment like government officer, for example. You see from the photo here that we carry out the wildlife safety zone campaign, that we are work with, that we are display the awareness standing on the different species, on the different message for and display as a government office, as a ministry level. Every 2 months, our volunteer who come to those office and or go to the market to change the standee or the banner, and giving the different message to the shopper or to the government officer. Yeah, so we run this program for, I think, for 5 years. Yeah. Next slide. Thank you. Yeah. This one is some of the example about our targeted audience program here about rhino, for example. So for the rhino, we know that that we know about the consumer profile for the rhino, and rhinos using the rhino horn user associated with something is very classy, something that they want to show status. So that's why we are working with the high-end business to give the message to the user. And I would like to highlight that here to work with the corporate to cooperate to the high-end business we decide that we need to have a win-win approach. So they see that it's not only that they are helping out the NGO, the conservation NGO, but also when they join our program, that we also promote their good product as well. So you can see from the photos that when we display the awareness standee or kind of table standing at the BMW, for example. So our message will be like a smart consumer through BMW, not a rhino horn. Or when we display that when display the awareness standee, or we have a message to the whole player. We have a different message to try to target them, so they see that if they want to show their status, they use that good product, and also at the same time they don't use a rhino horn, for example. Next slide, please. We talk a lot about the using the KOL, using the celebrity. I have to say that in early days, we are invite the celebrity to join with us a lot here. That's what you see from here. That we have a singer, we have the people artist, we have an idol, writer, many different people from the different industry. We invite them to join with our activity to attract the public attention on the issue. And the next slide, please. The next slide. So they are not only the celebrities, they not only join with EMV as a press event, for example. We also create some of the online campaigns that people can, the celebrity, they can post something on their own fan page and with a message to their follower. I would like to say about this campaign here. The campaign is I Support campaign. Actually, when we discussed about the message, about the name of the campaign, we talk a lot, and we think that yes, and finally we select the team is I Support, and it proves that it's quite successful here, and because the celebrity, they feel that when they put something and when they say I support, it's something very personal, and it's a very strong statement that oh, I support to end the bear by farming in Vietnam. I support to not using the bear by in Vietnam. So I think lesson learned here is that we try to create something that the celebrities, they also feel that they have a voice for it here. Next slide, please. Yeah, same time, yes, that's we also we have a different online campaign with a celebrity, but at the same time, I have to say that as I mentioned that earlier. Every day we use a lot of the we invite a lot of celebrity to join with us, like nearly I think more than 70 celebrities join with our different campaigns. But at the same time, I have to say that the celebrities, they also would like to have some long-term engagement, and it's also difficult for us that we can have we have like they want to be they want to be the ambassador, and they have on a list of the things that they can do all the way along and sometimes that I have to say that we can we don't get we don't have a long-term, just long-term campaign with them. Usually we come to them when we have a specific campaign, sometimes bear, sometimes tiger, sometimes rhino, and so they also complain that they don't want to be like this year. This year, that's I support support tiger. Next year, I support rhino. They would like to something that is quite concise and limited. And also one of the risky that we are when we work with celebrities, that you may know that about the nature of working with a celebrity. We don't know what happened. It's maybe that some scandal is that, and we can't control it. So we are also very careful in working with a celebrity, and sometimes we fear that we also fear that it take a lot of time that that's when we invite them to join our campaign. The investment and also the return is not worth. So since we no longer really work with the celebrity on the campaigns. Next slide, please. That's also like other organization, we try to use a different media platform to work on the to try to raise public awareness. Here you see that that's like we also develop the viral advertisement on the different newspaper, different that's a website. That of course before we do that, we need to identify the targeted platform or targeted website that we can reach with the consumer or the trader. For example, you see the first photo for the marine turtle. So we place the advertisement on the website that people need to go to that website to book the ticket to fly to the cool down. That's where the marine turtle live. Next slide. That's you see here that I talk a lot about the ENV outreach program. But one of those ENV also start reduce our outreach activity. We are no longer carry out a lot of outreach activity on our own, but we let the volunteer network to organize outreach event for us, as I mentioned, that they are expand our reach. But for EMB, that we are now much more focused on the reach of public to the TV and radio, because we also feel like that from the one public service announcement, we can reach millions of people. And while we value the outreach activities, that we can have some public feedback here. But we also at the same time we feel like the public service announcement can reach million people. So every year we produce 3 to 4 public service announcements to air on the TV, from the national to the province TV. And for Voice of Vietnam, the radio program, currently we have a daily advertisement on the radio program, on the traffic VOV, because it's the most popular radio channel in Vietnam. So it's the way that we reach the public, and the message is different from the focus on deterrent to the encourage people to use the wildlife product here. So it depends on the different campaign. We have a different of course, different messages. Next slide, please. Oh yes, it's a PSA already. Yes, that's a. Oh yes, as we are talking about the PSA here. Can you play that PSA? It's the latest PSA that we just air on the TV here.
Phật chào cô ạ.
Dạ, chào thầy ạ.
Cô mua rùa phóng sinh ấy sẽ không đem lại điều may mắn cho gia chủ. Làm như vậy ấy, sẽ khiến cho các con rùa khác sẽ bị săn bắt từ tự nhiên nhiều hơn. Từ giờ cô không nên làm như vậy nữa. Cô nên chuyển giao con rùa này cho các cơ quan chức năng.
Dạ.
AfA Phật ạ.
Dạ.
Yeah, I will also say with the link that you can go to the EMB YouTube page. That that's a lot of the, as I mentioned, that EMB also produce more than 50 PSAs already. So different PSA for the different campaign, and for example, like this PSA is talking about like people usually buy in Vietnam culture, people buy turtle and to release. To the list here, and people think that it's a kindness action, but actually people don't understand about the link between their buying and with the hunting and the trade here. So so that we produce that like a story to highlight the link so people can understand what is the impact of their buying. Even they thinking that they thought that they are doing something great here, but actually it's they have a bad influence on the biodiversity. So it depends on the campaign and with the message to the consumer. Yes, that's we develop the different approach here. Next slide, please. Yeah. So not only about focus on the public service announcement to air on TV or the radio program, in the last, I have to say, in the last 4 years, we really want to focus on the expand our viral reach, because we know that with the internet development now, and people also get the information from the Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Yeah. So in the communication team, we are really focused on trying to expand our viral reach. We have the campaign. We said that 1 million followers. That's what our aim, because we feel we still have a long way to reach our aim for 1 million followers. But we understand that if we have many more and more followers to in the fanpage, it means that we can give message to the more people in Vietnam. And when the public members, they are share the same value, the same concern with EV, maybe I'm will be retired. I hope that happens soon. So you see that we have back to the previous slide, please. So different campaign. For our viral campaign, you see that we have it depends on the at the same time that we also need to understand about our follower, our trader or consumer. For example, when we want to promote our hotline and we want to encourage people to follow our fanpage, we understand that from our advertisement testing. We understand that people also more about react to the positive or beautiful animal, living animal. When we want to encourage people to follow our fanpage, that's we try to we create like a more positive image. But at the same time, to deterrent for our deterrent campaign, we need to make sure that people just get the message like wildlife crime is a serious crime, and we repeat that message over. And then just people need to understand that just now the punishment is up to the 15 years in prison, for example. And when we want to encourage the people to follow our fanpage, the wrong people, that they are also very emotional about the in terms of their feeling that they need something emotional. So, for example, like vinyl photos, that's one also bring out a lot of new followers, because the people feel that that's a emotional touch they have when we say when the message is maybe vinyl need mom. Next slide. Here, that's I love the lesson from the IFAW. IFAW presentation actually is more than what I can say. But to be honest, just want to say some of the things that we just found when we are doing the video consumption campaign in Vietnam. Actually, I just say about we have a lot of the viral campaign is running right now. Actually, yesterday we have a meeting at EMB, and we discussed about our campaign for viral campaign for next year, and we realized that we run 17 viral campaign at the same time every month on a different species, on different messages. And like last year, it really it's a huge job when we have to think about the different design, different design, different look every time. But then we realize that many the message should be consistent. To the message should be consistent. We should use it all over, so people can remember that. And in terms of the design, in terms of the look, we don't need to have we have to evaluate what is good, what is get the more interaction, what is more effective, and then we keep using it. It's something that we because we work on it for many years, and sometimes we feel like that it's a very old tool, but it's new to audience, right? So that's what we learned, that we don't need to have like a new design every month. We should keep using what is the best one and keep using it year month after month until that we feel that it is so exhausted, yes, and we change here, we change here to the new design. And or something talking about the understanding the consumer about that you see from our some of the picture about our Ivory campaign. Yes, so so for each campaign we create the tagline for that one, so we can repeat that message all way along. Yeah, sometimes it may be different, maybe a little bit different design, but the tagline should be the same. So people see from our Facebook advertisement, people can see from the LCD screen as the elevator, people can see from the at the airport here. So we try to use one design for the many different platforms here, from the viewing from our home here, our home advertisement or the social media platform as well. Yeah, I think that is like the last slide from my presentation. Yes, talking about the for today, I just focus on our program on the video the consumer demand. I would like to say about the situation in Vietnam now. And we see one of the good things that we feel like that we see the younger generation. That they are clearly that they are less likely to consume wildlife. We have a lot of hope and a lot of the hope for the next generation. And at the same time, we also know that for the hardcore consumer, it's a much more complicated. It's more difficult to convince the older generation to stop using the wildlife product, for example. So we need to we need to work more. It's not only about the only target the trader or only target the consumer. We also need to build up the public support here, so they can create the social norm that so the consumers they feel that they are outcast. I think that's all for my presentation. So I'm happy to answer any question with the other presenter as well.
That was absolutely brilliant, Dung. Thank you so much for sharing your efforts in Vietnam. I think I really want to encourage anyone who hasn't seen the public service announcements produced by ENV to really check them out, because they seem to be really effective in their messaging and getting the right target audience. And I think that's something really special. Another note I made down is how you had a campaign for discouraging rhino horn. It's a premium product. Not everyone's going to be buying it, but those who can also afford a BMW are probably the ones who are going to be buying it. So it's a really important lesson in choosing your right target audience and the right location and messaging for people to get that message. We're running a little bit over time today, so I'd like to invite everyone back to answer just a couple of questions. If you'd all like to pop your screens on, we'll just ask 2 or 3 questions that we've had in the audience and from some of our AFA staff. Are you also there, Vicky? There you are, perfect. So one of the first questions we had is about the idea of retention of messaging. Does this messaging become, do you have research on if this messaging becomes ingrained and retained by people? Does SBCC stand the test of time? Will messages lose their effectiveness after consumers are exposed to them for a longer period of time? And how do we keep ratcheting up the movement to reduce demand if trends are likely to come back? Does anyone have any insight on that?
It's a very good question. Yes, actually we have carrying these behavior change campaigns for since the beginning of the 21st century. So it's about 20 years. And we are more changing the ways we approach to the public. For example, before taking the channels we carry out the campaigns. For example, by that time the PSA they are in the bus shelters. They're more popular because back then the social media is not very popular. But now we all use most people all use social media. Like in China, you have the WeChat, you have the Weibo, and have the little red book. So we are now shifting more resources from the outside PSAs to social medias, and we have more interactive rather than the big PSAs. Besides, together with the PSAs, we will have some more interactive campaigns that people can play, like some mini-site games, so people can interact with us. And also we because now we are applying this from saying no to saying yes, as I mentioned in my presentation. Before we say no buying, no killing, something like that, but we are now saying now you're doing very good already, and we hope you to enforce your already wildlife friendly behavior, so to encourage people, which is like more accessible by the public nowadays.
That's really interesting to say that you're adapting to the new generations and new technologies that are coming around to make sure that message is continued to be retained, and especially across generations as they change. Did anyone have anything else to add to that particular question? Yes, Nora.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to affirm what Vicky said. It is important to sustain the campaign. It cannot just be a one-shot deal. And it is important really to have a single-minded message, like even see the commercial companies, right? Coke and even this travel, Amazing India and all that. You have different messages, but you have like triggers that are consistently remembered over time. So one-shot campaigns are generally not sustainable or not sustained. And then secondly, it's also important to change social norms. So, the messaging may be different, but if, like, for example, for wildlife, I call it, people don't like to call it stigmatization, but if in our social messaging, social norm changes, we are able to stigmatize. So even new population segments like the youth that come in and they are actually acquire wealth, they will sort of have a feeling that, oh, this is something that is not acceptable amongst my peers. So I think that's also quite important.
Very good. Another question we had was, during which stage of the planning or which stage of a campaign do you see NGOs or your partners maybe make the most errors in their planning their campaigns? And how would SBCC planning process stop these primary errors and make them more efficient? Anyone can jump in. Sorry, anyone can jump in. Nora.
Okay, I can just say, I think it's basically the understanding of the target audience, the situation. So I think, well, this is not really, I think a lot of NGOs, like in the past, this is in the past, for example, our CWT conservation NGOs were addressing, for example, putting out messaging for conservation, like because they are extinct, etc. And we have found, based on our research, that this messaging, okay, is accepted by the general population, but generally it does not really resonate with those who are actually buying or using or want to desire to buy. So we really have to know who our target audience is and try to develop messaging that would resonate with them. So I think that's number one. I think that's a basic learning that we need to imbibe in our target audience, in the NGOs, etc.
Vicky or Dung, did you have anything to add to that question?
Sorry, I because of the bad internet connection, I lost your question. Sorry.
That's all right. Where do you think that where do you see NGOs making the most mistakes when they're planning an SBC campaign?
I think this for me personally, I think like the question we had in this chat box, sometimes when you have the celebrities, it's easy. It's we do some background research about celebrities to make sure that they don't have like wildlife not friendly behaviors before, but we cannot ensure their image in the public will be influenced by other behaviors, like maybe they for example, taking drugs or like prostitute, something like that. But it's hard to ensure that what the celebrities will do in the future.
That's very good. You've answered another question that we also had in the chat about that very issue. Have you had that come up before, where the credibility of a celebrity is impacted on your campaigns?
Not yet, but it's like that's why we are collaborating with celebrities less and less. We are relying less and less on them.
Yeah. And Dung, you've had a lot of experience over the last 20 years creating different campaigns. Have you seen your work change and the errors that you've made over time? Have you been able to learn from them? What were some of those first errors that you made when planning campaigns?
Yes, the planning campaign that I agree that if you can do the kind of the P and survey, like baseline survey, to that we can do some kind of research to understand about the consumer. It will be much better to understand. So we can develop the well message. That is a very important. But at the same time, for example, we don't have enough resource all the time to do the scientific survey all the time. So we also use a different platform, and sometimes it's not like a rapid assessment during our public event or during our university program during just outreach event. So we grab some of the feeling. It's not all the time that we can do the scientific survey. But we also rely on some of the like traffic. They did quite a lot of the survey, so we also some of the that we use that one so we can understand about the consumer. I just want to add more about the celebrity. I saw the question in the chat box I have to say that the same like IFAW that we also less using celebrity, because we luckily that we don't have any situation that they are engaged in or involved in the non-friendly wildlife behavior. But there is some case that after we work with them, we heard something from the different sources that even they join with our public service announcement. They encourage people don't use the title bond glue, for example. But somebody also said to us that they know that celebrities they use that one here. So that's why I said that we can't control no way that we can check their profile or their lifestyle for many years. So that's one of the reasons that we invite them to our campaigns.
It's very interesting that you're seeming to move away from always using celebrities and things, because it can be quite a challenging thing when they change. Vicky, you just had a note you wrote in the thing. Would you like to share it with us in the chat?
Yes, I just want to explore a little more that, because nowadays the young generation, they don't want to be taught like you are a teacher and they are students, and you are telling them what this is wrong, this is right. They don't want to be put in such a position that you are more superior to them. So nowadays we're doing this, like saying, yes, you are already doing something good very well, but you are encouraged to do more, or to influence friends around you to do more. So to these kinds of strategies we're shifting these years.
Yeah, it's almost as if they have to self-learn and understand these lessons for themselves and just being told what is right and wrong. That's a really interesting insight. And I want to pick up again on what Dung was saying about, small NGOs might have to partner with other organizations in order to get that, to get the research and the understanding behind your target audience. What would be the key if you're a small NGO, because a lot of our audience for AFA are small NGOs based in Asia who may not have a lot of resources to do, human resource in terms of time to actually do research, etc. What would be the closing remarks from each of you that they would need to understand, or what they need to learn to implement or to integrate SBCC principles into the campaigns that they may do locally? Vicky, maybe I'll start with you.
Yes. Can I say something?
Oh yeah, sorry, Dung, go.
Sorry. No. Vicky. Vicky, please say first.
Okay. Thank you. So my personal opinion is that you don't need to put your angle in a very large perspective in the first place. You no matter how the size you are, and you still have your own target audience, and you can start with this small circle and then enlarge one by one. You don't have to push yourself to as abilities that you're beyond. Yeah, I think you just doing something step by step, and maybe using some creative ideas, and maybe collaborating with other organizations or institutions that for example, some companies, they have this social responsibility KPIs, and you can cooperate with them, what they looking for and what you can provide with them, and you can collaborate and expand your already targeted audience to a larger audience. Yeah.
Yep. Dung, what were you going to say before? Thank you for that, Vicky. You're muted, I think, Dung. Sorry.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Perfect.
No, just add to that, I agree that we don't need to always rely on the big, huge scientific survey, that's small scale. So it's a good, and now with a lot of the platforms for online surveys that we also utilize, that also can reduce our it can have to say the resource as well. And sometimes, for example, we I mentioned that we also depend on some of the big organizations that they already carry out that research already. We also understand more about our consumer profile from the traffic and the USAID research as well. We don't need to do the research about which social platform is the most popular in Vietnam. For example, we depend on the media agency who can provide us that data. For example, yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yes.
I really like that idea, as you're saying, of trying to connect
Yeah.
different organizations together so that it doesn't always rely on one organization that may be
Yeah.
very small to do the entire sweep of things. Like you said, working with universities, working with traffic, working with other organizations like USAid to get this research about the target consumer so you can put it into your own campaigns and make a difference. Nora, did you have anything else to add on that and that final question?
Well, I agree with Zhang that it's very important to coordinate knowledge sharing amongst different NGOs is important, and participating in that. But small NGOs can also do some small research. Research doesn't have to be big. There are like qualitative research techniques, like focus group discussions that can be done in small groups, so long as they identify the right respondents, target audiences. So that can be done. I myself have done it before. It doesn't cost much, and I think those are things that small NGOs can actually strengthen in terms of the skills to do these small qualitative research studies, so that they can use the data for their own projects or activities or campaigns.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. And thank you very much, everyone, for your insights today in that Q&A. We'll start to wrap it up as we have run a little bit over
Thank
time.
you.
But as Nora
Thank
said,
you.
no worries at all. We'll get our final slideshow up if we can, Amanda, because what Nora just said about connecting small NGOs together is exactly what Asia for Animals is about. And we'll be excited to launch next year under AFA, the Combating Wildlife Trafficking Working Group, where we'll assist NGOs with additional capacity in how to utilize the principles we've talked about today in social and behavior change communication in their efforts to reduce demand for wildlife and connect civil society organizations across our network together to discuss and collaborate on the challenges they have in combating wildlife trade across Asia. So we're very thankful for you all today to introduce these principles and actually see it in practice about how it has changed, not just perceptions, but actually get outcomes for wildlife, which is just overall a reduction of demand. So thank you again for joining our session. And thank you again to everyone who's joined us live today in this session. And thanks to all the AFA staff behind the scenes at AfA Connect today. I think we were having some challenges with the slideshow presentation, so I'm going to just speak about a few of the other things that we have coming up in AFA over the end of this year in 2025. Everyone who's joined us today will receive a feedback form. We'd really like to hear about your how you've experienced today and what you've thought of it, so that we can make AFA Connect online events in the future really effective for you, our members, and those who wish to learn about the topics and help animals around the world. In 2025, we're going to have a few more of our online events, with the second year of International Macaque Week coming up, the return of Asia Farm Animal Day as an online event of fundraising awareness. Oh, there it is. The slideshow's back. There we go. So if we go back just one slide, there's the feedback form. If anyone would like to take a picture of that with their phone, you'll also be emailed a copy of that as in our thank you email afterwards to everyone who turned up today. Okay, next slide.
Thank you.
No worries, Dung. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have a few more events coming up in the next year. As I was saying, we have the return of Asia Farm Animal Day as an online event of raising awareness in the movement, and a day of capacity buildings for organizations in Asia, along with highlighting an event to highlight the work organizations do for World Rabies Day. If you're interested in any of those, the links are coming up in the chat as we speak via our events page. You can also join our mailing list to get updates on all of those events that are coming up. And the AfA conference is back for 2025 and will be hosted in Taipei. The AfA conference is the largest gathering of animal protection and advocacy organizations in Asia, and anyone and everyone can attend and connect with their peers at this event. We have sessions on all topics, ranging from farmed animals to wildlife trafficking to animals used in labs and entertainment. And we also have tailored sessions for everyone involved in the movement in any capacity. Registration's open very soon, so make sure you register under the early bird ticket scheme. You can again scan that QR code for more information, or you can sign up to our mailing list, which is also going to be popped in the chat very soon. If you're interested in speaking at AfA Connect, abstracts are now open for submission until December 10th. And again, you can scan that code for more information. Coming up next year, the AfA Farm Animal Coalition will be hosting several farm regional events in 2025, starting in India in February 2025, and there'll also be following regional events in Indonesia, Nepal, and Pakistan next year. These regional events allow organizations within the country to get together, share challenges, opportunities for collaboration, and allows for a united and collaborative movement. So if you're based in one of those countries and are interested in joining, please get in touch with us, again by asiaforanimals.com/events, or by the mailing list. You can keep up to date with those. And then now finally, we'd like to remind you about the amazing AfA podcast. If you haven't already, I'd really recommend checking it out. The episodes we have released are absolutely brilliant, with guest speakers from all around the world speaking about all sorts of animal-related issues, from veganism to the dog meat trade, from fake rescue content on social media to protecting animals in natural disasters and conflict zones, and how we can stop the wildlife trade. So you can find our podcast by searching Asia for Animals at basically anywhere that you get your podcast now currently. On behalf of everyone at Asia for Animals, we want to thank you for joining us today, and thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you at our events in the future.